Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Quarbit, and welcome back to the 6th episode of our Succession Crisis campaign, where last time we tried to help out Byzantium as best we could after they were being absolutely wrecked by the Mamluks, which seems to not have worked at all, and then we went ahead and did a massive exodus as the nation of Segu. If you're new around here, I recommend going back and checking a couple of the older ones, although that's not necessary because every episode is individually unique. Or if you've been keeping up to date so far, then don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss the next one. Also, just like the last video, if we can aim for 500 likes, that would be amazing. Now, because we'll be covering the 10th nation today, I hope to go back and check on each of the previous ones to see how they're doing. We got a little bit of a spoiler for at least one of them, but hopefully the other ones are doing a little bit better. But without further ado, let's see which one we get next. Well, that's a little bit awkward. So we already played Berg recently, they're looking healthy at least, which is a good sign, but unfortunately we can't play the same tag twice, so we're gonna have to go and reroll again. And we get Jessalmer. I'm pretty convinced at this point that the game really just wants to make me suffer. Okay, now I've been looking around for literally any possible tags that I can exodus into, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think there's a single one. I've looked all over India, I've looked over Indochina, I've looked over this region, I've looked pretty much everywhere. That sort of thing is more of like a once-in-a-lifetime type of deal, and I don't think we can get that lucky twice. On the bright side, our zealous, charismatic negotiator is, well, he's rather old, so, you know, maybe with a little bit of luck, I might just be able to move on. Because other than sitting here, I really don't see anything that we can do. Now, one thing I can do, which might improve my neighbor's opinion of me, might be swapping over to Sunni. It might cause a couple of problems, but at the very least I might be able to improve my opinion with them, and then possibly get an alliance or something. So just like that, now I can ally the Timurids, which is at least better than nothing. I can also ally Malwa, which will then also lead into an alliance. Now, if I try hard enough, there is a slight possibility that I will be able to go to war with Delhi and call in both of my new allies. If we're lucky, I get to take a little bit of land. If we're not, then I don't care, because we'll be moving on to the next nation shortly anyway. It looks like the Timurids have just declared war on Delhi themselves, actually. The only problem I have is, if the Timurids end up taking this one province, then I'm pretty royally screwed. So just in case, I'm going to build a second spy network as well. Okay, now Bahmanis will not help them, and they'll be extremely weak. The only thing we have left to do is to insult them real quick. And off to war we go. Now, of course, we can't really do much, but I'm just going to wait until the Timurids are done, and then hopefully we'll have our time in the spotlight. Ah, there we go. So the Timurids have peaced out, leaving us a little bit of land to work with. And Delhi just has 2,000 cannons left, which is quite pitiful. So this is just about as much as I can take in this piece. I don't think there's anything else I could even grab. So there we go. So that'll allow us to embrace global trade, which is pretty valuable. The only problem that still remains is the fact that we have yet to grab the printing press, and it looks like all of Asia feels the same, but I don't particularly feel like developing it myself unless I have a really good reason to. Now all that's left to do is sit back and wait for the cores. I'm also just going to go ahead and fully state all of these up, because if I don't do that, I'm going to have, well, pretty much no money. So let me go ahead and... Okay, so now that we've gotten all of that done, there's pretty much nothing else I can do at this point. While I'm here, I'll try to give them the best shot at survival as we can, so that'll be, first of all, finishing off their defensive ideas, dealing with as many rebels as we can, of course, and making a bunch of really solid allies. Ah, there we go. You know what? I'll take it. I will take it immediately. Please just get me out of here. That had to be one of the least eventful runs we've had so far. Just anything else at this point, please. Sweden. Perfect. I'll take it. Look at this. Sweden is rocking it out here with a 6/4/6 queen who is Midas touched and maybe a little loose-lipped, but that's okay. We're also allied with Russia, which is a massive bonus to us, and I feel like we're gonna be, attacking Denmark in our future here. That's what it looks like to me. Now, the ideas we've taken so far are administrative, trade, defensive, offensive, and economic. Economic is perfect for us. That is exactly what I was about to take if we didn't have it already, because our queen is Midas touched. She's also 44, which is kind of getting up there in age, so we might want to work a little bit quickly. Okay, let's check out the army and see how that's doing so far, as well as the navy. Now, the navy's not bad, 39 galleys, 11 transports, and 8 lights, which we will send out to protect our trade a little bit. And our army isn't a terrible composition, although I wouldn't exactly agree with having too many cavalry at this point, so I'm gonna get rid of them. Now that leaves me to fill out our force limit all the way up and a little bit extra so that we have our 32 complete front row and a fairly decent back row. Let's also take a bit of a look at our diplomatic situation. We are currently allied with Russia, which is amazing. We never want to break that or else we'll probably end up dying. Our enemy to the south and west is of course going to be Denmark, which is, well, a little hard to invade. I should also mention Denmark has 97 ships, which is a couple more than our 58, so if we were to get anything done, it would be in Norway for sure, definitely nothing outside of that. Also, Russia is in, well, a lot of debt, actually. Like, a ridiculous amount of debt. So they're absolutely not going to help us in any wars, offensive, or probably defensive either, which sort of leads me to think I should find some other allies. We'll also go ahead and pick up another advisor based off of our queen being Midas touched. I was thinking production efficiency would make a bit of sense. Speaking of being Midas touched, I kind of want to use that as an opportunity to roleplay improving the economy quite considerably. So I might be building a couple of buildings here and there and trying to just generally improve our situation. Now I'm just going to put down a little bit of a marketplace in Stockholm as well. Now, there was just one thing I wanted to at least try out a little bit. If I can't invade Denmark, then we'll have to look to other opportunities. Now, surprisingly, I actually do have the coring range for this, so I won't be vassalizing them this time. Now, this is a bit of a risky move. I think instead I'm just going to ask Burgundy for a bit of military access and then land them right next door. I mean, it's just a much simpler way of doing this. And then, oh look, we get rid of the -2. Huh. Crazy how that works. Okay, so it looks like England's currently exploding, which is good to see. I'm probably going to have a lot more expansion opportunities in Ireland soon, so we'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, we have your regularly scheduled beat up of France by Spain. This time Burgundy will not be joining them today, maybe next time. The Balkans, as always, are a bit of a mess, and for some reason Mantua seems to own half of it. And not to mention the border war going on in Anatolia. Okay, there we go. Flanders is ready to leave, but unfortunately, Ulster still isn't. So, we're gonna have to take a journey over to Cleves real quick. Alright, we can get Cleves out pretty easily. Flanders is gonna end up paying me a little bit of money, and I'm gonna force him back to Catholic. And that just leaves me with Ulster, who I will be full annexing. Well, now that I have my foothold in Britain, that's going to allow me to grab a couple of claims in England, and I'm pretty close to capping on my military, so I'm going to go ahead and develop a little bit. And all of my extra Diplo will of course go into the province of Dalaskogan, because they have a large number of goods produced. Also, for some reason, there's no fort on Stockholm, which I find a little bit uncomfortable, so I am going to get rid of this shipyard and I'm going to replace that with a level 4 fort. Hey England, guess who's back? Okay, let's grab this siege ability. London won't siege itself. Oh man, really? A civil war? In the middle of an actual war? Really? Come on, you don't have to do this. And there goes London. Okay, both of those sieges are done. I'm just going to hire an admiral real quick, no matter how garbage they may be, and we'll head over to Dumfries. That was fast. Alright, let's go and liberate that little territory right there, so I can finish the coring, or you know what, maybe we do nothing. Maybe we do nothing at all. Ah, damn it. I was hoping for a little more time on this one. I thought we could get a lot more done if I just had like 5 more years. But the rules are the rules, and unfortunately we don't get to revive the Viking dream of invading Britain, so... Well, that's unfortunate, but on the bright side, now we get to go back and take a look at all the previous tags. So, starting off at the very beginning, we have ourselves the Timurids, which are looking quite healthy, so I'm glad all of that subject management I did at the beginning was, you know, actually worth something. They're rocking a very strong economy with a rather sizable army. They have since taken innovative, trade, quantity, and offensive, which are all very interesting idea groups. They are currently a little bit behind tech, but that's alright, and they will soon be getting the printing press. But yeah, they've been doing a pretty solid job so far. Next up, we would have Dagbon, but unfortunately they have been completely full annexed. Next up, of course, we have Berg, which is looking very healthy, and I'm very glad for that. It looks like they've been going kind of crazy on the development here. They've been playing pretty tall and stacking a lot of dev modifiers, I think. Well, I know because obviously this province here is literally 57 costs and it's 29 development, which is crazy. The only thing they could actually do, which would be a great benefit to them, would actually be agricultural cultivation. Then they would have minus 10% cost on everything else as well. So in any case, they are making a somewhat healthy sum. They are somewhat professional and have a decently sized army for, you know, HRE nations. If you remember, our journey took us over to Aniza next, which unfortunately no longer has any cores. They've been full annexed, and the only part of their legacy that remains is this little province here with 29 development, which I don't think ended up doing much, but there you go. At least they had a pretty cool city. Afterwards would have been Bayreuth, which we actually managed to do quite a lot on. I think what ended up happening is they accepted a defensive call to arms, which was like a really bad idea, but that made them weak enough to get completely and utterly annexed by everyone around them. So we tried to give them a good start. They had like 4, maybe 5 provinces when they originally started off with 1. But yeah, there's no way to solve AI stupidity, so, you know, that's still a problem. Next we have Tupiniquim, which is beautiful. It's so beautiful. My son is looking all grown up with a massive army. He's making good money. He's alive. I really didn't expect it, to be honest with you. This guy's looking very healthy. Oh, this is nice. I like this so much. I'm so glad he managed to not only survive the encounter with the Europeans after we left him off, but he has actually conquered all of Brazil, essentially. There's nothing else that anyone can take from him. And his army is, I mean, pretty big. His economy is looking pretty healthy, I gotta admit. And wow, this is actually very impressive. I didn't expect the AI to pull something like this off, but other than that, yeah, I mean, he's been doing great. These are some fantastic idea picks. Expansion, quantity, trade, economic. He is pulling out all of the best ones to make as much money as possible. Quantity, trade, economic, that's the good stuff. So I'll be keeping a close eye on Tupiniquim. I think he's actually going to become a great power at some point. If he keeps on colonizing and if he keeps on conquering, that wouldn't even be a surprise. And so to contrast that wonderful nation and how well they're doing, let's take a look at Sang, which is disappointing. Obviously, they've just been left down to 3 provinces. There's not much to say here. I mean, the army is small, they don't make much money at all. Yeah, there's really not even much to say. I think they just got, you know, attacked by Bengal. Well, maybe Ming wasn't looking? I have no idea, to be honest with you. And then, of course, we have the poor, sick, dying empire, Byzantium themselves. Not much to say. We tried really hard, but then I noticed about, like 5 or 10 years into my Segu campaign that Byzantium was getting absolutely melted by the Mamluks again. So, I didn't really expect too much. I tried to give him a bit of a shot, but, rip Byzantium. Once revived and twice dead. And then we have Segu, which is still looking absolutely beautiful. I just love this so much. I'm really just surprised that Segu hasn't lost any land over here in West Africa. I mean, I really would have expected someone like Songhai or maybe Kong to try and take something from him, but no, he's still going absolutely strong. They're just having a good time, what can I say? They're making decent money, a sizable army, and hopefully we get to see them continue on. And then finally we have the tag that we just played a couple of minutes ago, and that would be Jaisalmer. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. We gave him a couple of provinces, we did our best here with the situation we had, but ultimately he is still a very small nation, squished between 2 large powers and a third one, which is not too small either. So, allied or not, there's always something that the AI is going to mess up on, and in this case, he accepted a defensive call to arms from Malwa against the Timurids, and that's probably going to be his doom. So, yeah, not much else to say. But that's going to be it for this episode. If you liked it, then of course leave a like. If you dislike it, then leave a dislike, and let me know what you thought in the comments down below. This is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. Of course, I'd like to give a special thank you to all the people over on Patreon for the month of April. Starting with those we have in the general tier: Quiet Guy, Brendan Arsenault, Ben Greenhagen, Torvald, Dire Avenger, and Farron. Those in the Prince tier: Snow Raven, Rockbox 2020, and Robert Caleno. Those in the King tier, Chewy Shoot and Natsuki. In the Elector tier, TFLJ Martis. And in the Conqueror of Worlds tier, The Watcher. Thank you guys so much for your pledges this month. It means a lot to me.